Hi, Preeti. What?
Hi, Vamika.
You're
This
already the
we
co-host.
okay. Thank you so much.
Yes. We can't see Atul. Is it the Samsung one?
Let me cross check. Give me a minute.
Preeti, has Atul not renamed himself? Is it? Has he joined
Let,
from the
let me check.
Samsung
Let me
phone?
check with him. Just give me a minute, please. Is it audible?
Can you hear me, Preeti?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I'm saying, has Atul joined from his Samsung phone? I can't seem to see him. Let me check with him. Okay, sure. How come no one is silent? Hello, everyone. Good evening. Firstly, thank you for joining us at this time of the day on a Friday. So, with this, my name is Vamika. I work as Assistant Program Manager at NCPEDP, and I welcome you to today's webinar. So, in today's webinar, we are largely going to talk about the Universal Design Awards, understand what is the application process, what is the selection process, and the timeline looks like, what are the different categories under which you all can apply, and basically, to understand the concept of universal design as a whole. So, with this, I would want to lay down a few ground rules before we begin. Firstly, please keep yourself on mute when anybody is speaking. We will be having a Q&A round at the end of the session where all of you can share and ask your questions and clarify your doubts. In case you would want us to speak in Hindi or do a English, then please mention that in the chat. Or if you would want us to work around the pace a little bit, then please do mention that as well. So now I would like to invite Mr. Srinivasu Chakravartula, who is a former UDA awardee as well as the Director of Product Accessibility at Freshworks, to share about the concept of universal design and help us understand, the concept as a whole. So, Vasu, over to you.
Hi, everybody. So, Vamika, before I actually start talking about it, is it like this is a single question, or is it is there any follow-up questions kind of thing? Is it a question and answer format, or how is it?
So, we will be having the Q&A at the end of the session, Vasu.
Okay, got it. So,
Yeah,
so for me, I
however,
can
if-
just go ahead and talk about the universal design concept and how this awards is perceived. Is that right?
Yes,
Cool.
however, if people have any important questions that they want immediate answer, they'll put it in the chat and we can take it like that.
Perfectly fine.
Okay.
Hari Om. Namaste, everyone. My name is Srinivasu Chakravartula. I've been an awardee of UDA Universal Design Awards, that is NCPEDP Mphasis Universal Design Awards back in 2013. So all this concept about the Universal Design Awards is there are different categories. Individuals with disabilities, there are role model professionals, and there are organizations, and there's also Javed Abidi Fellowship. Right? So this is all about. It is not something that if let's say if I have achieved something at my personal level, I'm also a Rotarian. So if I actually achieve something as a Rotarian, being a person with disability,
Vasu, sorry to interrupt. If you can
yes,
put on your video, then that will be a little more easier for the audience to connect.
all right, is that good?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Perfect. So let's say if I've done something significant as a member of a Rotary Club or as an executive of a Rotary Club, that wouldn't really count as part of this Universal Design Awards. Whereas my role as an accessibility champion across the industry and what I do in the space of assistive technology, that kind of things are actually counted, right? And universal design is all about making a product that is usable to everyone, and that actually meets the universal design principles that has been talked in the previous session, right? And not only about the product, but also a service. Like you offer a service. Let's say you have a aggregator, a platform which is an aggregator, like a tourist aggregator or a restaurant aggregator, or even e-commerce, right? So how do you actually make your experience accessible to all? Or even if you're actually building a shop, a restaurant, or a mall, how do you make your place accessible, right? If you made your if you put in your efforts to make your infrastructure or your services accessible to all, right? And that and you it can be either you as an individual, maybe a person with a disability, if you actually contribute significantly to enhance the usability or accessibility of different things, or even if you play a role, something like there are a lot of variety of things that are inaccessible in the world. You actually play a role of being an advocate and raise awareness among the community and start following up with them. So all that kind of things will also be counted under comes under the universal design. Or if you are somebody who runs a business, or if you are working in a corporation or a company, right, or any business, if you are even an employee, right, and you are not a person with disability, but you actually drive accessibility or universal design things within your organization, then you are also qualified to apply for these awards. Right? And as an organization, like I said, if you're running a business, you can actually bring up things that are the practices that you made for hiring people with disabilities, or to make your infrastructure accessible, to make your products or services accessible. And these products can be anything, including recently I was talking to Vamika about it. Even your dining table has to be made that universal design practice, right? Principles. Because you may have a guest who require a particular level of height, right? You should be able to welcome those guests to your home, right? Even as simple as that dining table, or as simple as your sofa set and stool, or as simple as your washing machines, okay, all this, even electronic devices, right? So today variety of things that we use, so all of them has to be. And one of the problem today is that even the elevators have come with the touch panels. Forget about people who are happen to have the blindness may find it difficult, but if somebody actually, it's quite common, people get into the elevator and stand across the wall, and if you actually stand across that elevator, it buttons which are touch screen in touch panel, all of them will get actually pressed, right? So that is not a we need to figure out a solution for that kind of things, right? But anything significant that you do to improve the usability for all users, including people with disabilities, will actually come under this concept of universal design. Okay, maybe it can also be product, services, infrastructure, or anything that you do, advocacy, education, right? Even if you put efforts to make a college or universities or schools syllabus accessible, and if it is actually helping children across the regions or across the states, that's a significant effort, so that definitely qualifies, right? So yeah, I think I'll pause here. Amika, you need me to cover anything specific? Any further? Or is it just good?
I think that is good. I think you also did touch upon the different categories. So I think it is good.
Super. Thanks, everybody.
Vasu, if you could also share, I mean, how has this recognition helped you personally, and why did you choose to apply in the first place? And that could be a good addition.
Okay, in my case, since the 2013 was just like 3 years from, in fact, even the first NCPEDP Mphasis Universal Design Award, at the time I was working for a company called Yahoo, right? So at that time, in fact, Yahoo has been the one of the recipients as well as the first time. So both the time, and second time in 2013, I have received as an individual. So both the time I have applied, we have applied because this is a new category of awards. This is a new recognition instituted by NCPEDP and Mphasis together, right? And I thought, since we have been doing good work in the space of accessibility, and when we actually get recognized, and it'll be like inspiration to many others who will also continue doing more good work and get recognized, right? And definitely when a specific award or anything is listed down in our resumes or in our portfolios, it definitely adds a value. So, and it also creates the curiosity among people what this award is all about, right? So I use this actually. I make sure I put it in my resumes. Even whenever somebody asks me for my brief profile, I mention about it in that as well. So that actually creates a curiosity among people, since not many would be aware of this Universal Design Awards. So they would eventually ask me what it is about. So that would be another area for me to raise awareness, because one of my passion is to raise awareness about accessibility and anything that happens in the area of universal design and accessibility. So it's not necessarily only it should help me in my personal and professional level, but this could also become a platform for me to raise awareness to people who are not aware of.
That is very interesting. Thank you for sharing that. We have heard a lot of awardees also mention, how the awards have opened doors for them to different government institutions, who recognize the Universal Design Award and the value that it brings with it. So,
Absolutely.
definitely thank you for sharing that. So, I think Vasu has already touched upon the different categories. Now, just to give a little bit of context in terms of what is the history behind the awards and how it started in the first place. So we go back to 2010 when the awards were started. तो ये awards जो है Mphasis F1 Foundation के support में we had started. And at that time, we recognized that, as the name of NCPEDP suggests, National Center for Promotion of Employment for People with Disabilities, we recognize that while employment is one core pillar that is, a great need, but it can't really be achieved without accessible systems and environment being in place. So then it eventually led us to start the Universal Design Awards, and it has been 16 editions ever since then. So recently, the Supreme Court judgment, also in the Rajiv Raturi case, recognized universal design and assistive technology as an important pillar uh, that needs to be considered while creating the non-negotiable rules. It also has led to the creation of the Assistive Technology Hub. So, AT as a pillar is something which is, it is required that it is something that is easily accessible, affordable, and good quality AT products are available to people with disabilities who need them. So, this Universal Design Initiative is one way in which we are trying to create that ecosystem. So, over the past years, we have received numerous applications across diverse fields, including media, cinema, then technology, organizations like Microsoft, Infosys, who are working around disability, government institutions like the National Informatics Center, the Election Commission, so on and so forth. We have also had, malls like DLF Saket and institutions like IP College for Women, IIT Delhi apply for these awards. And we have been able to create a vast ecosystem of individuals and organizations who are trying to create a more accessible ecosystem through different means, including policy, assistive technology, products, and services. Now I'll just take you all through the different categories of awards that we have. Just give me a minute so that I can share my screen. Can you see my screen, Ananya? Yes. Okay. So, as listed on the screen, there are four categories that we have under which applicants can share their applications. So, the first category is role model persons with disabilities. तो ये कैटेगरी उन इंडिविजुअल्स के लिए है who have worked whose work revolves around accessibility and universal design and can be across diverse spaces, as I already mentioned earlier as well. It can be rights-based advocacy that you did as part of any institution that you're working on. For example, if you're working in a college and you're trying to, get work on the policy so that it is more accessible for students with disabilities, or that, for example, the examinations become easier for them, or the current policies that are mentioned under the Rights for Persons with Disabilities Act, they are not applicable, and you try and incorporate that in your university or the organization that you're part of, or you are working on building any product or service. So, all these contributions will come as part of role model persons with disabilities. And every year we have three individuals from this from across India who are awarded under this category. Then the second category is role model working professionals. And here I would want you all to understand the difference between the first and the second category. So while the first category is relevant only for persons with disabilities, the second one is more applicable for people who don't identify themselves as people with disabilities, because this is the confusion that we face across a lot of applications. So this category recognizes individuals who are working within different organizations, either in NGOs, government bodies, corporate startups, or even as freelancers, students, consultants, and within their individual capacity inside that institution or organization, they are trying to bring a reform in terms of more accessible policies, or creating a more accessible ecosystem as a whole. So even in this category, 3 individuals are awarded every year. The third category is role model companies and organizations. So, under this category, companies and organizations who are working on accessibility and universal design across different areas are awarded. And herein again, while this is not just restricted to private companies, but also not for profit organizations, educational institutions, government institutions, academic bodies, startups. So this we have 4 awards which are given under this category every year. And the last category, which is the most prestigious of all, is the Javed Abidi Public Policy Award. So this award has been named after our late founder, Mr. Javed Abidi. And this is more like a lifetime achievement award that you can look at. So under this, one individual or organization is awarded and honored with this award. So, and this is largely towards individuals or organizations who are trying to work around more accessible policies, and they are looking at larger systemic work. So that is all about the Javed Abidi Public Policy Award. And so I would say that please be careful in terms of when you choose to apply for an award. You can submit only one application with respect to your work. However, if your work qualifies, I mean, you can choose if you work in an organization and your organization wants to apply, then they can go forward with category C. However, if you're a person with disability and want to apply in your individual capacity, then you can go ahead with category A, which is role model persons with disabilities. So that is all from my end. Now I would like to invite my colleague Ananya to walk through the form and help everyone understand what the application process looks like, what are the different questions, what documents one needs to submit. Over to you, Ananya.
Hi, I hope you can see my screen. So we have Google Forms. We are accepting applications for the Universal Design Awards through Google Forms. There are separate Google Forms for each category. However, for today, I am just giving a walkthrough of category C, which is role model company or organization. You can see that the form is bilingual in both English and Hindi, so that instructions are clear in each language. The instructions at the beginning of the form tell you the last date, which is July 6th, 2026 at 11:59 p.m. People can nominate themselves, which is directly fill your application, or you can also nominate somebody that you may know and fill the form accordingly. Please keep ready to upload. Please be ready to upload high resolution photographs. If you are applying as an individual, it should be a recent high resolution photograph of yourself. Or if you are applying as a company or organization, it should be your company's logo should be attached as a high resolution image. Along with that, we would expect any photographs, web links, media coverage highlighting your work, and a letter of recommendation from someone who you have worked with is optional. All fields or questions that have the asterisk sign are mandatory. And the form is designed such that it will give you questions based on which options you select. For example, if the first question asks whether you are nominating yourself, if you answer no, the questions that will be displayed next will ask you about who you are nominating for the awards. But if you would be nominating yourself, the form will ask you directly about your work. For example, if you are nominating somebody else, here are the details of the nominator where you can put your own details. It will ask for your name, gender, address, district, state, your contact information, your nature of employment to understand how you know the person you are nominating. After your personal details, you will be asked about what your association with the nominee is, how long you have known them, and how would you describe them. And we have given some indicators which you can follow which you can use to talk about the nominee's work in the space of accessibility or universal design. One second. My apologies. Yes, so next you can see the details, the section which will ask you for the details of the nominee. Now, if you are applying yourself, you will directly be moved to this section of the form where you can talk about your own work. Since this form is about companies and organizations, it is asking for the details of the organization first, such as name of the organization, name of the head, uh, geography, and address, contact details, your the mobile number, any alternate contacts or emails of the head of the organization or any point of contact, along with links to social media profiles, the website of the company or organization, and some further information on the year of establishment, the specific area of work, the type of organization that it is. So you will be expected to select the most relevant or appropriate option. To also understand the extent of disability inclusion within the organizations that are applying, we have also included some questions to understand the strength of total employees in the organization, how many people with disabilities are working in each organization, and at what levels. Next come the common questions, which are about providing details regarding your work on universal design and accessibility. There are certain word limits that are specified, so please be mindful that you stick to those. And there are details given regarding what information is required. We would suggest that you try to highlight your impact in wherever possible in numbers, in terms of if it's a product, then describing the journey of development of the product, your turnovers, profits, impact in terms of how many units you sold. If it's a service, for example, if you are working as a consultant, or if you're a non-profit organization, you can give detail. You can elaborate on how many people you manage to help or provide your services to. And to understand your work further, we want to understand what are the challenges that you are facing, and what support do you think will help in advancing your work. Next, you'll have to give some details regarding any recognition or awards that you have received over the last 5 years. Here are some more company-specific questions asking about which accessibility standards or guidelines are kept in mind while working on your product, services, digital accessibility, or infrastructure within the company itself. And this year, we have also included questions on whether you have ever applied for the Universal Design Awards before, simply to understand, and we want to understand where you heard about the awards. Next, you will see a section on supporting documents, which you would have to attach with your application. This will include a high resolution logo of the company. And in the case of category A or B, it would be a high resolution recent photograph of yourself or the nominee, along with photographs, media coverage, or any relevant links which showcase the work that you have been doing. And an optional letter of recommendation which can help substantiate your application and the work that you have done. Finally, we have the declarations, which are simply some undertakings where to attest that all the knowledge and information that you have provided is to the best of your knowledge, and that you consent to the submitted information being used for our internal evaluation process, being in touch with NCPEDP further, receiving any other promotional emails from us, and for usage in social media and across our platforms for further coverage. We will be sharing the link. You can find these links on our website. We have been actively posting on social media for the same as well. We will be sharing the link to our website in the chat box as well, where you will be able to easily find these application forms for all categories. Thank you.
Thank you, Ananya, for taking us through the form. So while Ananya has shown us the form for category C, the form looks more or less the same for the other categories with a few different, I mean, with a minute difference in the questions. So I would encourage you all to be as clear and specific when you fill out the applications, and share all the details as much as possible so that it would help us to clearly share and present your work to the jury. So now I would take you through the selection process and the timeline so that you can submit your applications accordingly. Yes. So firstly, in terms of the selection process, We have already launched the applications for the different categories. It was launched in the beginning of June, and the last date to apply, as Ananya also mentioned, is 6th of July. So we are evaluating the applications on a rolling basis. So I would encourage you all to apply as soon as possible. There will be no extension in terms of the deadline. Now, after the applications have been received, we conduct an initial screening to understand if the applicant has filled the details with respect to the different questions, if all the information is complete. In case there is any information required with respect to a separate question, or we need to understand the credibility of the work that has been mentioned by the applicant. We conduct thorough background checks and due diligence, for which we reach out to the applicants to understand a little bit more about their work. uh, then post that we have a detailed internal review. So we have an internal scrutiny wherein experienced members from the NCPEDP team evaluate all the applications across the different categories received based on criteria including the relevance of the applicant's work, the geographical reach, the impact that they have been able to achieve over the years, what is their future plan, and how they envision to grow their work in the future. Factors like these are considered to evaluate the applicant's work. Post that, the final shortlisted applications go to the jury round. So there are primarily two stages of evaluation. So under this, a jury, an eminent jury with experts from the tech sector, media, people working on accessibility and universal design, assistive tech, people working in the policy space, they evaluate each of the shortlisted application in a detailed manner based on the mentioned selection criteria. Post that, the final awardees are selected, and they are facilitated in an award ceremony. So the award ceremony this time is scheduled for the 14th of August. In terms of the timeline, as I already mentioned, the application forms will close on the 6th of July, 12 p.m. We have the jury meeting on the 28th of July now, so it's not 20th of July anymore. The awardees will be declared on the same day or by the next day maximum. And finally, the awardees will be facilitated during the ceremony on the 14th of August. So, this was the selection process and the timeline. If you have any questions or doubts with respect to the concept of universal design, who can apply across the different categories, or any issue with respect to the application form, then the floor is open. Please feel free to ask or put your queries in the chat box, and we'll be happy to take them up. So since we do not have any questions, I would like to just share a few frequently asked questions and doubts that we get from the applicants over the years. So one doubt that applicants have is that if they have received the award previously, can they reapply? So in that case, if you have received the award earlier, it has been more than 3 years, then you can reapply for the award. Another question that we usually get is that if I'm a person with disability, then which category of award can I apply under? So, category A, which is role model persons with disabilities, will be the category for you if you're working around universal design and accessibility. Then you can apply to that category. However, if you are working more on the policy side of things and you have a certain number of experience behind you, then you can also choose to apply under the JAB category. Then another frequently asked question is will they get a prize money on receiving the award? So this award does not carry any monetary value or benefit with it. So what it does for you and why you should apply is that the award opens an ecosystem to you. So like I earlier also mentioned, the award opens a lot of our awardees have come back to us and told us that the awards have opened doors to the government institutions which were not accessible to them earlier. Also, it gives you an ecosystem of other individuals and organizations who are working in the same space in different ways. And thirdly, as I also mentioned earlier, that the Universal Design Awards have led us to the Assistive Tech Hub, to the creation of the Assistive Technology Hub. So, and recently we released a white paper around AT. So that is also the ecosystem and network that you can become a part of as you receive this award. So a lot of our awardees have Universal Design Awards mentioned in their LinkedIn or in their CV, as Srinivasu also mentioned, because it adds credibility to the work that they are doing, and they, through media coverage and PR, and also the uh, institutional value that NCPEDP brings with it, the awards help them take their work further. So, these were a few questions that I wanted to address. And with this, thank you once again, everyone, for joining in. My colleague has already shared the application form in the chat. We will also be sharing sorry, the helpline number and the email ID. So, in case you have any questions or doubts in the future, you can reach out to us over the same. We will be having the third set of webinar where we'll be having different awardees across categories to share their experiences and how they have benefited from the awards. So please do join in. So with this, I'll just wait for 2 minutes till you can use the information with respect to the email ID and the helpline, and then I will end the chat. Thank you everyone for joining in. Okay, I think we are good to go. Thank you very much, Atul and Preeti. Requesting you both as well to share about the awards within your own network. I remember, Atul, we had a chat earlier and you mentioned, some good people were doing interesting work, someone in Ladakh, I remembered. So I'll share the WhatsApp message with you. Please do circulate that as well. I'm just sharing it over here itself. Okay, thank you, everyone.